Got a vintage blue case Baldwin 6020 series knob by thumb depress mortise. We're just going to check it out and clean it up. It's actually functioning okay, but you know, it's dirty. It's been some years since somebody looked at it. I'm here to replace a spindle today, but we're just going to check it out, make a YouTube video. We previously did a lever by thumb depress, I think, a 6021, but this is a 6020. We'll take it apart using this block. Just kind of stabilizes this hub and deadbolt cam assembly, or whatever we want to call that, on the block. Kind of helps hold things together. Now, I believe there's a ball bearing that detents these push buttons on the edge, and I'm just going to park this dead center. I'm not positive if that's a good spot or not, but we'll give it a shot. Sometimes that keeps the bearing underneath what it rides against, so it just doesn't go shooting out of there. Got 3 cover screws. And this lock's been apart before because one screw hides underneath the label. And that's been pierced. Cover's coming off. Pretty clean, little rust. I just wanted to mainly make sure there was no springs or anything wrong. So that ball bearing, let's talk about that first. It'll be on this lower button. I'm going to remove this little teeter cam, and we can see that ball bearing right there. It's inside this part under spring tension, and I got it parked right underneath this post just to keep it in check. And then we'll go ahead and slide it forward and get it up out of there. And it shot out. There's a little spring in here and the ball bearing itself that kind of provides the detent positioning where this is either locked or unlocked, and it doesn't like to be in between where I parked it. And this spring here can pop on you when you take the cover off. A lot of times this is operating the deadbolt. It's just hooking through, notch in a case. I'm going to unload it and take it out. And then we've got our kind of deadbolt actuator. Pull it out. I think there may be a problem with this yoke on this lock. There's supposed to be a clip on the inside of this face here that maintains that in position, and I noticed it was slopping in and out, and it looks like we've got an aftermarket lock washer that somebody's placed on there. So we'll see what's up with that. Sometimes I'll bend a little wire and try and reclip that. It has to be installed inside a recess on that face itself. So there's one issue. So we've had that either broken and then attempted to be repaired, or jerry-rigged for whatever reason by somebody. This disc just keeps the pressure on that yoke even as it tightens down, so it hits the cylinder on one side. Since there's no cylinder on the other side, this just takes the place of a interior cylinder, so it can stay where it is, but it would thread out of the case one way or the other if we wanted it to. And a lot of times those have been omitted. We'll pull the bolt up out of there. This is fixed to the case with a screw. I'll probably just leave that in place. We can make sure the screw's tight. I'm using a straight screwdriver, and it's good. So we'll just clean around that piece and let that stay. Now, the spring that the main latch rides on is on this rod, and it's basically under its own spring pressure, poking out the back of the lock body and keeping the rod in position. So we could unload that if we want by pushing in. getting it into the case here and pulling it out. I guess I've got to get this other stuff out of here first. I'm just going to let that float. So we've got a spring wrapped around this knob return cam hub thing. Well, I guess it's a cam. And it's on the interior here, loaded against down in the corner of the case. Right down here, we can see two springs. This little one is floating and broken, or who knows what's going on there. And I think that one helps return the thumb depress, and this one helps to return the knob. So I'm just lifting that up from the corner of the case. Bring that spring with it. And you see that's just seated in there. It's loaded on top through the post hole and then winding around. Here's our broken spring. Part of it anyway. And there should be another leg to this that does something to load. So that's broken. If nothing else, we'll get it out of there, but I'm going to see if I have one. And then the main spindle hub's going to come up out of there. Looks like for this particular lock, the knob's on this side of the door. And that's where our little locking block is going to lock into. Which is this. This is our locking block. And now we can get this guide spring and latch assembly out of here. And this is before the modern anti-friction two-piece latch. This is just loaded on here like that. This long cam leg thing is driven by when the cylinder's in operation, this will cycle and retract the latch. And it's down under everything. One of our last things out of the lock body. And now the thumb depress actuator. And we're going to look for the other half of that spring, because the lock body is essentially empty. So that's not here. And there's a good chance the previous locksmith that replaced the spindle jerry-rigged this yoke. Got that out of the case. Just don't see anything in there. I'm going to take a quick peek up front. I brought some things with me. Actually, it's not up front, it's in the back. So this job's an hour away, so yesterday I stopped and picked up things from storage. Some of them for other jobs. I brought a small little deadbolt blue case. I brought an unknown non-thumb depress, so it won't have the spring we need. Not sure what I've got here. Oh, I brought a 2.5 inch back set for a new lock. I brought a modern lock. And then this small box of a few things I had at the shop. Which are springs. And this to me looks like that's going to be our thumb depress return spring. that we wish we brought today and did. So we'll put that into there. Nothing else here will help us. Foresight and job predictability comes with experience. So I don't know that my camera battery is going to hold up for this whole thing, but I'm basically going to scrub this down with WD-40 and a toothbrush and get it cleaned up. It looks pretty clean. The other guy probably was cleaning in here. I'm also going to go and look. Well, there's a good chance we can steal the yoke out of this. Let's do that. Because we've got a bad yoke for sure. And what happens when that little clip gets broken on that yoke, and it usually gets broken from people either over tightening it or over loosening it, and it just can't travel anymore, and that clip comes under pressure. People keep turning, and it blows that little clip that holds that in position right before it does other damage. I'm not sure what model number this is. Got some stuff scratched on a case here. Looks like this might be a 2030. Knob by knob. Pop it open. And that is exactly what it is. You see a lot of our design components are the same. They've just changed in here for the thumb depress and stuff like that. But I'm going to just unload this spring. And this yoke won't come out. And that's because it's got its clip on it. I put one screw back in this cover. Had to help that slide because I didn't park it in the middle this time. Pull this faceplate. Try and get you a look at that yoke spring or clip or whatever we want to call it. So we see it's a very tiny true arc on this one. Let's see if I can zoom for you. Right down in there. So I'm going to need to try and get some true arc pliers, open that up within the confines of this hole, and push that yoke through to be able to reuse it on the new lock. So I'll be doing that today. Getting that out of there, transferring it to here, scrubbing this with WD-40 unit silicone and a toothbrush, just getting it cleaned up, wiping the parts, put it back together with the new spring, and rock this program. So that's our Baldwin 6020 right hand, and mission complete.